Hello and welcome to my March TBR and goals for March video. I read 2.5 books in February and I have like 12 books planned for March. So this is probably an overly ambitious TBR, but most of these are short. So I'm hoping I'll be able to fit at least most of them in. I know at least some of them I'm definitely reading in March, so I will talk about those. I'm also participating in middle grade March, which I will have the announcement video linked up here and in the description. It's a month of reading middle grade books, and there are 5 prompts as well as a group read. I am definitely planning on reading the group read. At first, I was thinking I'm only reading the group read for middle grade March, and I'm not going to read any of the other books or any books for the other prompts. And then whenever I was making my TBR, I realized I have a couple middle grade books on my TBR. So I don't know if they really fit any of the prompts, but I'm going to go ahead and include them in like my middle grade March TBR. Part of the reason I was thinking I wouldn't fully participate as I have in previous years in middle grade March is I have kind of burnt myself out on reading middle grade books whenever I was reading a whole bunch of them back to back previously. So I like reading middle grade books, but I like to sprinkle them throughout my other reading a lot more rather than just reading 5 or 6 of them in the month of March. I'm definitely reading the group read though, which is The Mona Lisa Vanishes. This is a middle grade nonfiction about the theft of the Mona Lisa. I believe from my understanding that the Mona Lisa wasn't actually famous until after the famous heist of the Mona Lisa. So I'm very interested in learning more of that history. The other middle grade book I'm reading is also a nonfiction. It is called History Smashers. I'm kind of making my way through this series. I find it very fun. It's a nonfiction series about different parts in history that are often glorified. And it's just kind of saying like there were good parts and there were also not so good parts about this period or this event or whatever in history. And it's kind of going through that in a very fun way. And I really enjoy reading those, or I enjoyed the one that I've read so far, and I'm looking forward to reading more of the series. And then my last middle grade book on my March TBR is Ghost Boys, which is about a boy who dies in a shooting, and then he meets the ghosts of other boys who died the same way, and they like find healing together or something. I haven't actually read the book, but I think that's what it is about. It is very short, and I'm intrigued by the premise. But moving into the non-middle grade books I'm reading in March, I was planning on reading The Tainted Cup, and I am filming this a couple days into March, and I've already DNF'd The Tainted Cup, which is like the second fantasy murder mystery book that I've DNF'd in a row. So I'm thinking that might just not be the genre mashup for me, which is unfortunate because like the premise sounds cool and then it doesn't work. The next book I'm planning on reading is The Poisons We Drink. This is a book that is coming out in March, and I'm really hoping it works for me, and I'm hoping to do a standalone review for this book. That is one of my video plans, but I have like 3 books on this list that I might do standalone reviews for, so they might not all be released in March. The next book I'm planning on reading is The Dead Cattail Assassins. This is another one that I hope to do a standalone review for. I have actually started this one, and I really like the setup. It's about these undead assassins, and they don't have their memories, but our protagonist, of course, gets her memory back or starts remembering things, and then it causes problems in her assassination work. It sounds really interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of this one. The next book I'm really planning to get to in March is This Is How You Lose the Time War. This is a really short book, and it's a fantasy, or no, it's a sci-fi time travel. I think it's also kind of a love story, and it seems to be one of those books that's super polarizing. Like people either love it or hate it, and I'm really interested in seeing where I land on this book. The next book I'm really planning on getting to in March is for a read-along, and that is for the Long Price Quartet, starting with The Shadow in Summer. So I actually hauled the first 3 books in this series recently, and I didn't realize that a read-along was going on in one of the Discords that I'm in until it was already March, and then I'm like, I have those books. I got them recently. I should participate in this read-along. And they're not that long, so they are actually reading the first 2 books in March. I'm gonna just aim to read the first one and then hopefully read the next 3 in April. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if any of these plans pan out. I would love to do a standalone review for this one as well. This one's only 331 pages. I will put the read-along announcement in the video, in the places that you put video links. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I feel like everything I've heard about Daniel Abraham sounds like I would love it. So I'm really hoping that's true, and I love this series. And the last book that I'm really trying to squeeze in March is Lost Ark Dreaming. This is a post-apocalyptic story. It's a novella, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's that long. I think it's maybe around 200 pages or less. And it is about a post-apocalyptic world where I think there's like no land left and it's covered in water and people live in these towers. It sounds interesting. I usually don't look up like premises right before I go into reading a book. I find out if I'm interested in reading it, and then I like try to forget everything. So I'm not looking up what it's about again, but it sounded interesting. Other hopefuls, but I'm really not thinking that I will get to these in March, but I want to get to them soon, is The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I've not read any Neil Gaiman, and I do plan on starting with The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and In Ascension, which is a sci-fi, I think, first contact. It's a long book, honestly, and I'm pretty sure it's a slow character study. We follow this oceanographer, and that's like all that I know about it. So it sounds interesting. I'm excited to give it a try. Not sure if I'm getting to it in March, my overly ambitious March plans, but I hope this is a good reading month. Again, I only read like 2.5 books in February, but February is a short month, so there's like few extra days. We only get like 2 extra days in March. I think I can fit like 5 books into those 2 extra days. That's my plan. Anyway, let me know if you've read any of these, what you thought of them, and what your plans are for March. And I hope to see you in another video. Happy reading.